Hello, my name is Rob Perrett, and for my case study, I'm going to explore the representation and ethical considerations of learning disabilities in film and television. I chose this subject for my case study due to my 20 years of experience of filming individuals with learning disabilities, in my role as a teacher, specialist support worker, and later as a media production technician, creating training films, documentaries, and drama. This study explores the impact of inclusivity in film and questions whether the learning disability label is necessary. I will highlight the positive and negative aspects and the importance of authentic casting and representation. I will also advocate for the seamless integration of learning disability performers into diverse roles. The World Health Organization says, disability is part of being human. Almost everyone will temporarily or permanently experience disability at some point in their life, which is estimated at 1.3 billion people, which is about 16% of the global population. Learning disabilities encompass a variety of neurological conditions that affect an individual's ability to learn, understand, and process information. In 1998, Stephen Saffron said, "We're a culture of mass media consumers. As such, authorities believe that the messages of newspapers, television, and feature-length films have a substantial impact on the public attitudes towards individuals with disabilities." Ellis and Goggins said in their 2015 book, Disability in the Media, representations are also key ways in which we imagine ourselves with others. The understanding we gain from the media is further reflected within society, including the experiences we encounter with disability. In her 2014 book, A Psychological Understanding of People with Learning Disabilities, Joni Webb gives a history of the rights of learning disabled people. The UN Declaration in 1971 on the Rights of Mentally Retarded Persons affirmed the right of people with learning disability to live as close as possible to a normal life. The 1995 Discrimination Act, followed by the Human Rights Act in 1998, was based on the UN Declaration of Human Rights. Again, with people's rights to enjoy a decent life as normal and as full as possible. In 2001, Valuing People was published, and the seal was set on the future that was intended to place beyond question the humanity for people with learning disabilities. In the book Working with People with Learning Disabilities, Thomas and Woods wrote, "The right to take control and make informed decisions about day-to-day living and other aspects that affect the life of a person should be fundamental. Decisions can be small or large and cover mundane issues such as what to eat or what to wear, through to life-changing decisions about relationships or style of living. These decisions are taken for granted by the majority of the population, but such choices are not always available to people with learning disabilities." Channel 4 Chief Executive Alex Mahon said in the 2021 Guide to Including Disabled Talent in the TV Industry, "Disability has been left behind. It isn't talked about enough, and it has now become a real problem in our industry. People have rights to go and get jobs. This is not a favor. This is not a charity. It's about thinking about where there are skills in our industry which we're not accessing." In the 2021 Inclusive Film Final Report, Hijinks Theatre with Triangle stated, "There is a severe lack of representation of learning disabled and autistic people in roles across television and film industries. Not only actors, but also directors, writers, producers, casting directors, crew, and production team." A 2020 article by Matthew Hellert identified, "A career in the arts in the film industry is not something many people with learning disabilities have the chance to pursue." Tidball and Bunting in their 2021 report calculated that there has been an increase of 0.9% in the proportion of disabled people working in off-screen TV production, from 4.5% in 2017 to 5.4% in 2020. The estimated proportion of on-screen contributions made by disabled people rose from 6.2% to 8.2%. At the current rate of progress, it will take until 2028 to double disability in broadcast TV. I approached 30 industry professionals for their opinion on where they feel learning disability inclusion in film is today and where they think it will be in the future. Out of the 30, 3 replied. Stephen Clark from Bigger House Film said, I think in the future we need a core group of learning disabled individuals who regularly work in the industry, who can build a stronger community to demonstrate that learning disabilities have a worthwhile contribution to make. The Down Syndrome Association (DSA) information team contributed to this case study. They said to me, in the future, we at the DSA would like to see more incidental inclusion of characters who have Down syndrome. As with Ralph and Katie, there doesn't have to be a need to be a focus on their condition. Characters can be going about their lives in relationships, at work or at play, just happening to have Down syndrome. Ellie Khan, in her article It's Fashionable to be Diverse, but Is it True Diversity?, writes, co-creator of Tommy Jessup Goes to Hollywood, William Jessup, has suggested the US is lagging some way behind the UK on attitudes to disability representation on screen. Despite positive encounters and encouragement from the likes of producer Joel Zadak and the Peanut Butter Falcon actor Zach Gottsagen, the Jessups said their general experience of Hollywood and their struggle to get their foot in the door exposed outdated attitudes. I spoke with film director William Jessup for this case study and asked him where he thought learning disability inclusion in the TV and film industry is today. William said, I think the representation of people with learning disability in film and TV has improved since 2007, but there's still a long way to go. The BBC is definitely leading the way when it comes to representing people with Down syndrome on our screens, in both drama and factual content. Anecdotally, the impression that we have is that casting directors can be keen, but there will often be a gatekeeper higher up the chain who says no. Diversity being fashionable rather than truly inclusive. It's also vanishingly rare for people with Down syndrome to be included behind the scenes of a production, whether as part of the creative team or as runners or camera assistants. An example of improved representation is William's brother actor Tommy Jessup, who has appeared in many on-screen roles, including Tommy Jessup Goes to Hollywood, Line of Duty Series 5 and 6, Off Their Rockers, Growing Up Downs, Doctors, Casualty, Holby City, and The Amazing Coming Down the Mountain. Tommy writes in his 2023 book A Life Worth Living, we're all different with different gifts and skills. I'm a professional actor, dancer, campaigner, and public speaker, trying to make a difference, and I'm a doctor of the arts and now a writer. An anonymous author wrote on Sia's film Music, they only touched the surface and the level of this disability, and casting a neurotypical actress to play the role of an autistic character, the entire production seems like a mockery. However, supporters for the film have argued that in previous incidents, abled actors have played disabled parts, for example Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man and Leonardo DiCaprio in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. The difference is in those films, the actors presented an honest and realistic portrayal of autism. However, for films like Mercury Rising, mainstream casting might be more practical. If a child actor like Miko Hughes is cast, he's able to handle complex stunt scenes, gunfire, and shouting men, which may be too challenging for a neurodivergent actor to play. However, it is still crucial to remember that an accurate and respectful portrayal is necessary. Comparably, the BBC TV series The A Word featured Joe, a 5-year-old with autism, played by Max Vento, whose portrayal was accurate and representative, and would have been extremely challenging for a 5-year-old autistic actor to play. One more example is comedian Ashley Story. She plays an autistic character in the BBC TV's Dinosaur. This is her first leading acting role, and it has helped her to become more open about her own autism. She says, so when you say to somebody I'm autistic, they'll say, but you're not rocking back and forth or counting toothpicks. This is because their only point of reference is Rain Man. Advocacy for accurate portrayals is slowly changing in how learning disabled individuals are portrayed by learning disabled actors. Recent films like Coming Down the Mountain, The Peanut Butter Falcon, Champions, and An Irish Story have portrayed characters with learning disability authentically, showcasing their struggles and their triumphs. Chiara Lawrence of MenCap produced a survey in 2022 that showed 40% of people have not seen someone with a learning disability in the media in the last year. 33% said they would feel more comfortable talking to someone with a learning disability if they saw them in the media more often. I produced a public survey asking 2 questions. Do you think learning disabled actors should be represented more on screen? 80% reported yes. Question 2. Can you name the last film or TV program you saw featuring a learning disabled actor? 5 said Coronation Street, 3 said Call the Midwife, 2 said Peanut Butter Falcon, 2 said Emmerdale, 1 said Justine, 1 said EastEnders, and 1 said Holby City. These answers suggest to me that learning disabled representation on film and TV would be well received by an audience. The DSA information team said to me for this case study, learning disability representation needs to show the full spectrum of our society, with actors of different genders, skin colours, religions, socio-economic groups and backgrounds being cast in roles. Sarah Al-Mahmood wrote on her 2023 article about director Bobby Farrelly's casting for Champions, quotes him, "So what we wanted to do is just get a well-rounded cast. People that love basketball, who are disabled, but also have the ability to act." Now for me, this is a good example of respectful, realistic casting. On Channel 4's website, the following initiative is featured, and it says, the film industry has seen a rise in initiatives aimed at promoting inclusion and diversity, such as the TV Access Project, TAP, formed in response to the campaign by Underlying Health Condition, UHC, which was set up by disabled creators, along with the screenwriter Jack Thorne, following his McTaggart lecture at Edinburgh TV Festival in 2021. In spring 2022, some of the UK's main broadcasters and streamers met to discuss how to improve access for deaf, disabled and neurodivergent talent across the TV industry. Committed to the principles of TAP, the broadcasters are providing senior leadership to participate in work streams and provide funding for any key work. The current TAP members are Amazon Prime Video, BBC, BritBox, Channel 4, Disney, ITV, Paramount, Sky, STV and UK TV. TAP also states, in order to ensure the full and equal inclusion of deaf, disabled and neurodivergent talent, both in behind and in front of the camera, they have produced a set of simple guidelines and principles which any organisation in the industry is welcome to adopt. These are known as the 5 A's: anticipate, ask, assess, adjust and advocate. In 2023, a book, A Life Worth Living, Tommy Jessup wrote, in the 1970s, Dr. Langdon Down's name started being used as a label for people like me. That is just a label, though. I think this is a mixture of good and bad. The good thing is that I think that it means people could and should understand us better. We should celebrate the lives of people with Down syndrome. What is bad is being told what to do in life because of being labelled. This is why I have a personal grudge against labels. They separate us from making choices in life, because people just see the label and not the person. Thomas Woods wrote, the impact and implications of being labelled may be far-reaching and should not be underestimated. Labels can be seen as both positive and negative. They have the potential to create negative influence, to stigmatise and affect the person who is labelled. The label learning disabled is double-edged. It provides support, but also can lead to low expectations of an individual. With my past experience of engaging services of learning disabled performers and crew, combined with this research and TAP, I have developed the following recommendations. Promote authentic representation, encourage consultation with individuals and learning disability experts for accurate and respectful portrayals and responsible casting. Inclusive opportunities. Support initiatives to provide training and opportunities for individuals with learning disabilities to work in the film industry. Educate and advocate. Ensure crew and performers are comfortable working with learning disabled individuals. Provide awareness training about working alongside learning disabled people to promote inclusivity. Avoid stereotypes. Challenge and avoid limiting stereotypes through appropriate storytelling and realistic casting choices. On-set filming process. Identify individual needs, explain the film process, allow extra preparation and rehearsal time, provide quality support, include personal risk assessments and reflect these needs in the budget in advance. Consider the LD label. Use labels only when necessary and respectfully. Consult with the individual or their support network. Capacity. If necessary, regularly, scene by scene, reassess capacity and understanding of what is expected. Prioritize the autonomy and comfort of the individuals. Passive discrimination. Be mindful of subtle disadvantages. Ensure fair treatment, avoid biased practice, and ensure all support and resources are in place. Quoting Matthew Hellert, 2021, these steps are not particularly difficult to take. The industry needs to learn to open its arms to a diverse range of talent, putting people with learning disabilities in front of and behind the camera. In conclusion, there is good evidence that representation of learning disabilities in film has significantly improved from negative stereotypes to more authentic and empowering portrayals, which reduces stigma, promotes inclusivity, and increases awareness. While the learning disability label is essential for providing support, we must be careful not to limit an individual's potential. The use of abled actors in disabled roles should always be carefully considered, ensuring casting and portrayals are accurate and respectful. By adopting the recommendations as good practice, the film industry can further embrace inclusivity and respectful casting. This approach will enrich the industry and emphasize the positive impact of inclusive filmmaking on society. My plan for dissemination. It is to share this case study for meaningful discussions, to inspire further change in the industry with a diverse range audience, including industry professionals, educators, advocates, and the public. I will use the following methods: journals, industry workshops, a dedicated website with forum or blog, social media, and educational workshops. The case study also provides a foundation for a practice-based PhD study on learning disabilities in the film industry. Thank you.